Hello YouTube, welcome to another coaching on Marvel Snap Zone, and today we're gonna do a little follow-up to what we started last week. Last week we talked about cards that could be good in the metagame to help edge in certain areas. Today we're gonna discuss archetypes, and what I want to touch on is the difference between synergistic archetypes and flexible archetypes that can play a lot of different cards, and look at their upsides in this kind of metagame. Because right now, I feel like we can play a lot of things. Like, it's been a while since we didn't have that many decks that feel like they can compete. None of them is particularly stronger than anything else. I mean, I would say Destroy is probably the best deck, but I mean, play Armor and suddenly it's not the best deck anymore. So we have a lot of possibilities, and today we're going to try to kind of sort through them and find kind of the tiebreakers to pick what is the best deck. And kind of spoiler alert, it's probably going to be your own playstyle, but we'll get to that later. So, are the students ready?
Yeah, and I think we need a share screen, and then, yep.
Of course, the usual, I forget to do that before we start. Alright, so what we're gonna start with, what do you guys want to start with? Flexible decks or synergistic decks? We're gonna do both anyway.
Flexible decks?
Okay, flexible deck.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to make sure everyone understands what's a flexible deck, can I get an example?
Thanos.
Yeah. Thanos, good cards. These kind of decks where you have like 8 or 9 cards, and then the rest you can play whatever you like depending on the metagame. A lot of terms that we're gonna say today, like flexible, synergistic, and etc., are not related to in-game. They're related to deck building. Just in case for people watching us.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Mm-hmm. So, what are the upsides of playing a flexible deck? What do these decks do well?
Adapt.
Okay. Adapt to the meta. What else?
I mean, even more, I'd say survive the meta. You know, sometimes if like one other deck becomes common, it just needs to swap out its counter card or its tech card, and then it can still hang in the conversation.
Okay. Differently.
Mm-hmm. Let's say that.
One thing I would say that we don't think about very much, because I think we're all like complete, is the flexible decks are, you know, for lack of a better word, cheaper, right? You have these cards you don't have to have 75 different ongoing cards or different cards that work together. You can just have the same set of cards season by season and just add and subtract a little bit. So I think for people who aren't complete, they're easier to build.
Does it work if I say collection friendly?
Yeah, no, I like it.
Okay.
I think another thing that's good about flexible decks is they don't necessarily go into each match knowing how they want to win. You know, they might have a proactive strategy, a reactive strategy. They have different paths to winning. They don't need to pull off a specific combo to do so.
So you would say they're flexible?
Yeah. But right. But the flexibility is that they're a little bit more wait and see. Like if I'm playing something like Shuri, you know, I have my game plan, and it's just, can I dodge the traps? Can I pull it off? This one, a flexible deck, I feel have to pay more attention to the specific locations, the opponent, what you've drawn, and figure out what you want to do with the tools you have. There isn't necessarily a true strategy.
Does that work if I say they can play in more games? Like you have less auto retreats?
I think that will capture part of it, yeah.
Well, because there's the part that you talked about, but I want to put it in another point.
Gotcha, yeah.
Which is less location dependent.
That's a good point.
I
would, and I don't know, I would kind of go...
And then?
I think that they're easier How maybe it's this. I guess it kind of depends, but I would probably argue that they're overall a little more difficult to master because there's so much variation.
Yeah, but that's a
Maybe
downside.
perhaps, but
We can talk about.
yeah, but easier to how to say it, they play overall. Well, I guess we were saying they're more adaptable because I'd say the opposite ones would be easier to play because but they're less likely, but they're less draw dependent, right? I mean, flexible decks are less draw dependent. You can play. Each card has its own value as
Okay.
opposed to having to synergize.
I'll just do less draw dependent and less location.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, do we see other upside?
Flexible deck.
I think
I
they're
don't know if it's been
generally better in Conquest.
Yes. I see one big
mm.
upside, which is
Nice.
they usually transfer from ladder to conquest much better.
Mm.
All right, do we have some downsides? You already said order to master. Do we have other downsides?
Well, they just kind of go backwards to everything that we said. Uh,
Let's try to break down what harder to master means, because that could be a ton of things.
So one, it would be more prone to piloting errors.
yeah, I think the snap and retreat. Since we talk about that as such an important characteristic, are harder to identify in a flexible deck.
We have others. There's
I think
one.
I think it's often like, if we're thinking of like a more proactive kind of play, you walk in with a strategy of how to win, right? We talked about that on the other side. So with these kinds of decks, gosh, I just lost my thought. It's sort of like the tempo, the initiative goes to the more proactive player, and that allows them to sometimes just run away with the game while you're waiting to see how to react. So sometimes you don't have the momentum yourself.
Okay, but what does that mean? Is that the fault of the pilot for seizing that momentum, or is it the fault of the deck because it's worse at seizing? Because
That's a
if
good
it's
question.
the pilot's fault, we can't put it
Yeah.
on the deck. If it's
Yeah.
the deck is worse at taking priority, it's on the deck. Because, like, for example, Thanos is one of the better decks at getting priority. Just drop stones on every lane.
I think another positive would be they're less the decks are less they're more tech resistant.
Well, that's what I said when I said like adapt to the meta as dominant. Like when they're the best deck, they're not as easy to get out. But also when they're not the best deck, it's easier for them to get tech cards to kill the best deck.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm having trouble answering that question you raised then, because it will depend now on specific flexible decks. Like, a good cards won't struggle in the same way as more proactive inclined. It's hard to give a general answer, I think.
Personally, I would say flexible decks are better at priority than synergistic decks, because flexible decks are less location dependent, meaning they can spread their power around. Like, for example, if I would take Thanos and Destroy, Destroy's early game, like both turn 1s, which is X-23 and Deadpool, want to be played almost every time where the turn 2 is going to be played. Because if your turn 2 is Wolverine, you want to kill it, so on the same place. If it's Carnage, you have to play it on the same location. Buckyborns, same thing. So I feel like flexible decks are better, but because we said it's easier to make a mistake with it, it's obviously easier to make a mistake with it and not recognize that you should have taken priority against that matchup or that location means like it's better for the player with priority at some point in the match, stuff like that. I think it comes down to it's easier to make a mistake, but it's a piloting thing, not a deck thing.
I think as you speak, I would add. Oh, it's good. No, go ahead.
No, I was going to change topic. I mean, it's a different sentence. Go ahead.
All right. Then I would say one thing to then, as you're talking, comes clear to me is that it requires just more cognitive attention to play flexible. You have to be thinking about tempo. There's just more variables to consider. Do you take priority? Which locations, right? It is more mentally taxing to play flexible, which if you're just trying to like grind or get into a good conquest rhythm, you have to really make sure you're ready for it.
I'll add both. The one I was waiting for was you need more information, because a synergistic deck can always go like, oh, that's my game plan. I don't really care who you are. A flexible deck needs to know what his opponent is doing, how they operate, how you're supposed to counter them, etc. But I like the focus as well.
Yeah, the wait to pounce element. How do I deploy what I've got against them?
So now we can change topic, Bishop.
Yeah.
So this is going to sound, and this is, I mean, probably a little like centric on my part, but and I don't know if I'd put this as a pro or a con per se, but I think it's I think the flexible decks make you an overall better player, right? We all start off with it's easy to spot the play styles in the synergistic, and so we start playing that way, and then as you move to a more flexible deck, it forces you to, if you're going to succeed at it, you have to get better as a player. You have to start analyzing all of these aspects simultaneously. And maybe that's why we all end up where we, here in these lessons, is because these decks are harder to play. And if you want to progress into them, then you go chasing them down.
I would say that most of the time, flexible decks are the one that dominate at the top of the ladder.
Okay.
But
and that's probably why.
Today's session isn't focused at finding what are the best decks in general. It's to find what is the best choice in a diverse environment. So if your point is flexible decks will do better against a variety of opponents, I'm okay to include it. If your point is flexible decks are better in general, that doesn't fit the specific requirement of today.
Well, I'm not saying they're better in general. I just think that the act of playing one, this is why I'm saying it doesn't know if it's a pro or con, I think makes you a better player. I think the trends, I think it's part of the learning process.
Okay.
Because they're uncomfortable to play. I don't know if it's pro or con, it's just the point.
What if
I think of it as a it's actually like the flip side to the you need to focus to play well.
Literally these two go together. And
exactly,
these three, I could actually color them.
Yeah.
What's a color you like, Bishop?
Let's go with the orange. I like the orange today.
This one?
Like that. I think that's a nice one.
Okay. Sorry, yes.
No. I like if I'm winning with a more synergistic deck, I often feel like I'm not really winning. The deck is doing it. I feel like more of me, right? Like I feel like more of, not that it's like easy, right? But like it's just it works because it works. The math is on that deck side. I feel like I would rather lose more often playing a flexible deck, because I'm getting deeper into the creative side of the game. I'm learning more. I just feel more involved with it.
I hate to say it this way, but I mean, I think I play more flexible decks because I find them more fun, right? Like it's I avoid the synergistic decks in general because I get bored with them after after the fourth or fifth game.
Like when I play ladder, if I start going into a losing streak with a synergistic deck, I'm gonna switch very, very fast. Well, with a flexible deck, I'm gonna be like, all right, can I adapt the deck? Do I have a card wrong? Am I doing something that could be fixed? While if you lose with destroy, you're just like, all right, destroy is not good. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
I mean, look at like the most flexible deck that you could make, right? Which is anything that includes Loki. That is like literally probably the definition of flexible. And what makes it entertaining, right, is that when you throw down on turn 4 or whatever, and you get a whole new hand, you're like, okay, how do I play somebody else's deck right now and win the game?
Right.
I mean, look at Lambda, they all Thanos, Lockjaw. Thanos, and Loki. I mean, most of the top players move to those decks at some point. Or
Yeah.
just wear those decks proudly, right, as their skill set.
Yeah,
So,
I think we can even build on this and say, like, doing a synergistic deck well, you really need to understand that deck. To really be good at a flexible deck, you need to understand the game.
Yeah, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's do the same thing with synergistic decks.
Okay, who are you going to get to play a synergistic deck later on in the session?
We'll see. I'll do it if nobody wants to. So first, let's get an example of a synergistic deck. So
destroy is
Surfer.
like, Surfer's a good destroy.
I mean, to me, Surfer is an
Surfer,
Surfer,
exactly.
3 cost. There's so many tech cards that's 3 cost.
Right, so you have flexibility there. I think destroy, right? Because you're trying to do the same thing every time. You have your cards that do that thing. Most of the like Tribunal also was another good example, right?
There
Everything has to work together.
I would say synergistic decks are more popular
Red Skull.
than
Yeah.
All right, so upside downside.
We can just kind of go. We can go. Do you want to start with the cons and we'll take the cons from the other side and make the pros on this side? They're easier to understand.
This one is both a pro and a con. They are easier to win with sometimes because they have, like, a synergistic deck only rises to the top of the meta if the math is really on its side. But that also means that they're easier to beat because as soon as you see one of those identifiable cards come down, you basically know what they're going to try to do and where. And the only variable is, do they have like a surprise card, or did they get the draw they needed? Which you can also watch for based on what you expect them to play at certain turns.
Does that work if I rate it this way?
Yeah, with lots of information to match. Yes.
Yeah. And they need very little information. You're just doing your thing.
Yes. So we might even add to that, going back to the cognitive load idea, that easier to get into a flow, maybe, with a synergistic deck. Like, good for grinding. Play Shuri Red Skull the first day of a new season, you're at infinite, cool, move back to other decks, right?
It's easier snap and retreat.
There's good for grinding. To me, good for grinding means it's easier to play it for several hours. Then there's also good for
climbing.
No, for I don't have the word, so I'm just gonna make a sentence. Good for metagames where people are lost. Like, you don't know what people are gonna play, but you suspect they don't know either. So you're just like, all right, let's do a deck that doesn't care about the opponent because there's nothing to take from the opponent at this point.
Wow.
I'll write it this way. Let me know if it's on.
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, that's what I totally get that. I mean, we see it after every time, right? Destroy always comes back, like, in the first 24 hours after the OTA.
Well, they stayed very, very long after the last OTA. 24 hours, I'm pretty sure it was like a week ago.
Yeah.
They can go and they're like, Deadpool, what are you still doing here? You're way past your bedtime.
Snaps and retreats are easier, right? You can learn your snap and retreat characteristics. It's a good training deck in that regard for snap and retreat.
I can make another one, but I felt like need less information.
Oh, it's good enough. That's totally fine.
Here will also the.
Yeah.
And
drone works, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And then I would say the last one there would be generally easily countered, right?
Yeah.
There's one or two cards put the deck down.
And I would actually build on that, the easier to figure out snaps and retreats. Yeah, there's a con to that, though. It's easier to get, like, caught being overconfident, because, like, if somebody drops a leech on you, like, okay, you were wrong to think you had this game.
And there's also that.
Yes.
It works both ways. Like, it's easier to snap and retreat with, but it's also easier to snap and retreat against.
Yes.
Because, I mean, destroy, you're on turn 3, they still haven't played Deadpool, you're like, oh, snap. Oh, give me my cube.
Yeah. Yes.
Literally, like, there are a ton of decks where, for example, I love Bounce, and Bounce isn't really good against destroy, especially as I play one with Green Goblin and Celine and everything. But every time they haven't played Deadpool by turn 3 or 4, I'm like, give me my cube. And they're like, alright, I'm gone.
Yep.
Do we have more?
Yeah. I feel like we're not giving enough credit to the pro side. I want to think about what are we missing there. I'm sorry?
No, yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. Because we're letting our particular preferences kind of steer it a bit. So why do people love playing these?
I mean, I think people like playing them because I think it's the first thing you get it right. It's it's the first time I broke Infinite was I got close with it was Shuri Sara or Shuri deck, and then eventually into a Thanos. I mean, not Thanos, into a Lockjaw deck. Right? Just I get it. I knew what the synergies were. Boom, boom, boom. So you feel there's a sense of safety or familiarity and comfort. That's
more likely to be a comfort deck.
I'll add this one.
Yeah.
The fact that the game kind of pushes for synergistic decks twice a week.
Yes. Okay. Fair. Yeah.
But you said something really good. Got you. What did you say? Comfort deck.
Yeah. There's I'm building on Bishop's idea that there's a reason why people go back to these. They're more likely to be comfort decks.
Well,
you know the moves, so you're familiar.
It goes with the grade after a balance back. Add comfort deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, sometimes it's not the balance patch. Sometimes, like, you just get stuck in the game or you get frustrated, and somebody who wants to just reset and get back into that pleasurable rhythm, like, here's the promise. You know how to play me. So to the extent that our own psychology gets in the way. Yeah. So
they're high risk, high reward, right?
Not really.
And so they reward those 8 cube wins. I think. Oh, I mean, when they work really well.
But I
so it's like more addicting in a way. Yeah.
I see what Silvermint. Like the fact that I feel like their lows aren't as bad as flexible.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like a flexible deck, if you don't know where you're going with it, it's so easy to press because you're not going anywhere. A synergistic deck is gonna let you know much faster. Like you're gonna play like 10 games, which snap is like half an hour, and you're gonna be like, that's a good idea, that's a bad idea. Sometimes you can spend 4 hours on a Thanos deck and you have no idea if it's good or bad in the meta.
Yep. Yeah, I feel so. That's actually worth even carving out. I think is a separate point. In some ways, maybe easier to deck build because you can identify really quickly what part of it is or isn't working.
Does it make sense if I read it this way? Like it gathers meta information faster?
Yeah, I like that.
No, I mean, I think either the synergistic decks are easier to deck build in general because the words are usually written on the cards, right? The deck design is designed to help you find those cards. You know?
But I'm also thinking of something Den said a number of weeks ago, which is let the opponent teach you, right? Synergistic decks are very teachable in this way.
No, true.
Yeah. And I think if we're taking seriously the idea that, what really separates players to some extent is just the psychology, like, how much they've overcome their own pitfalls, right? That personal element. synergistic decks can offer a lot of comfort to people. That's take seriously that this is something that keeps people playing the game long enough to want to get good at it. Otherwise, they'd hit a wall early and think it's not their thing. So in a way, I think I get why they kind of privilege synergistic decks in some way. It helps recruit and secure new players.
What?
Here, I promise you a good time. Yeah.
Well, at
What
least
I think
I
is interesting
promise
is
you a minimum level of pleasurable time.
Yeah. Yeah.
What I was talking with Seamus last night about this, or early this morning, and we were, he made Infinite like twice now in a row, which is, and I was saying that
Good.
Congrats, Seamus.
it gets easier after something happens, right? You do it once, and then it gets easier, and then all of a sudden you start. It doesn't. Each month it becomes, or each season becomes just a little bit easier, or just more likely to happen. And I wonder if that's tied to a transfer from synergistic to flexible decks. Like if there's something that occurs in that transitional period where all of a sudden you start to move towards more of a flexible deck, or you start to understand the flexible deck better, and so you're able to kind of deal with that better. I mean, it'd be interesting to like explore data.
Does that work if
I mean,
see if
like
that's
this?
true.
Yeah. Yeah. I think. I mean, so my first time getting Infinite, it was 2 days after our very first coaching session, right? But like, it was a Thanos deck that did it, and I think that's not a surprise.
And I think like I know he did it with he just used like a like a good cards Quake kind of deck, and I've identified the deck very much. I've used that same deck to climb before because it just works well.
Yeah.
So
I would also say, and maybe if we want to take the pros here seriously, synergistic decks are easier to get you out of a rut. Like at a certain point, people can get into this spiral where like none of my decks are working. I don't know what to do. I'm lost in this meta. Finding something that just works by formula reinvests you in a way. And sometimes you're not up to the creative challenge of trying to figure out how to beat the meta. Sometimes you just want to enjoy the game again. I think there's I don't mean to be dismissive. I'm not treating it like a candy bar or something, right? But like there's something really snackable and good about a synergistic deck if that's what you need right now.
Yeah, it's like when you say like I don't know the English word exactly. But like when you say everything's simple or like everything's easy with certain persons.
Yeah, it just clicks, right? Like I think of this card as a great example of a synergistic deck. It will give me like a high for a little while. Like I will have fun playing it and enjoy watching the combo work every time. Enjoy watching how unbeatable it is, and then eventually I just want to try something more aggressive or interesting. So it is serving a role. I'm sorry.
That's amazing because when I play like every time I play like this card, like, hey, look, what card is Blade gonna discard? Oh, Lady So. Like it's just like that's just the only that is my discard experience.
You do know
I've
Blade
tried
has
hella.
been changed, and you know what it's gonna discard, right?
Yeah,
it's been like 5 months.
Yeah.
No, I understand that, but like I said, that's my point. Is the card that's always sitting in that position is the one card I was like, no, I don't want to discard that.
Yep. Well, and it's always like again the piloting error, like the number of times. Oh, what is it? The raft, the one where if you fill it first, you get a free card.
Yes.
The number of times I've used Blade to fill it and then watch that free card go away and just go, oops.
Yes.
It's very clear that was not a deck problem. That was a pilot problem.
Yeah. I had so many like screenshots of me playing these synergistic decks, like just once or twice, and the cards all falling in the exact opposite way they're supposed to fall, or you just be presented. I'm like, this just. I'm going to go back to something flexible, which forgives me a little bit. So, well, this is really good. This is. I think this really one thing this explains is when we're giving advice to players on the boards, and they ask like, I'm frustrated, I can't do this thing, I can't do this, nothing's working for me. I think it's better to, I can see that this really helps me ask a few more questions, like, tell me about what you're experiencing, and then try going here for your answer as opposed to play what I'm playing, because I can see that.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do to somebody who's feeling stuck is just say like, "Oh, go play Loki." Like,
Yeah.
you know?
Have you tried playing that hybrid Thanos bounce deck?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
Go study the top 9 different decks, and then you're ready to go. That's
Right.
There's one more here. I don't know if it's in cons. Huh.
Let me see.
Maybe we need a third. Because what I wanted to say is that flexible decks need precise information. Synergistic deck, general information. Like you want to know which archetypes are being played to which synergistic deck you should be playing. Well, you need to know how the game works, how the every deck like kind of builds their play patterns, and it's much more like specific when it comes to a flexible deck.
Yeah. Maybe I don't know if maybe detailed is a good way to say that. But you need really, I mean, the information has to be in depth and in detail versus synergistic, which is surface or general information. If someone tells me they're playing, if someone tells you if the meta is rich in, like you said before, if the meta is rich in discard, I mean in destroy, then okay, can I squeeze a Cosmo or an armor into my deck, and then I'm good to go. I don't need to know that which destroy version they're playing if they're as much. I just need to stop it.
Yes.
I have
So now
I get shot.
we have this very nice board that I'm actually gonna cut of. Tweet it.
That's a good one.
I am right there with you.
Or go in to ask the very, very difficult question. That was cool. That was a nice tier part. Now,
Yep.
what do we do with it? How does this help us know what to play, what to pick?
Well, I mean, the most straightforward thing is like both Bishop and I enjoy flexible decks, so let's look at what's dominating the meta right now and start figuring out how we want to counter.
I would to go back to your to kind of simplify your question a little bit is I think you could almost build a flow diagram where you ask, you can actually each player you could ask the player, so to speak, where what are you seeing or what are you experiencing? My deck won't win, or I'm getting beat, or I'm getting beat. Why are you not winning? I'm getting beaten by 6 different types of deck versus I'm getting beaten by one specific type of deck, or I'm seeing one type of deck again and again, kind of thing. Like, what are you seeing in the meta? I'm seeing one type of deck again and again versus I'm seeing 7 different types of decks. And then it's kind of like you can kind of almost go through your journey through questioning and find out you should try moving to a synergistic, or you should try moving to a flexible, or that kind of thing. So, so to ask your question, where to begin? I think we could start with what's the state of the meta, or where are we in the meta right now?
All right. And because neither of you wants to play a statistic deck, I'll be that person. It's going to be a very, very small sample size. We should extrapolate and we look at stats and everything, like basically what I do for tier list weekend. But we're just gonna do the exercise on full sample size. So I'm gonna play a synergistic deck that I enjoy, and I'll break down and everything. And then you guys will be in charge of figuring out what am I facing, what decks are worth not necessarily going after, but considering when you're playing the game. We're gonna play this. Really in love with this. Are there any
Destroy
questions?
ramp. This is the one you posted in the team coaching, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been playing around with
This
this
is
a little bit. This is fun. Yeah.
Oh yeah, put that in the pre. Well, not.
Yeah,
Mhm.
this is for the recommendation.
Mhm.
So yeah, the lines look. I mean, we've seen the same lines again and again. Like, they're obvious to recognize.
It's a synergistic deck. All right. So
Oh, look at that.
Oh, that's a
I
lovely
would
start.
I would get two. I don't mind two.
Mhm.
Everyone's playing Darkhawk because
Yeah,
that's kind of fun because there's some decks which were considered flexible when started, and X23 here.
Well,
No, 23 was so good. But yeah, there are decks that started as flexible, such as Darkhawk and stuff like that, and I almost feel now they're like synergistic with tech cards. Like
yeah,
everyone
I can see
is
that.
going to play the exact same 10 cards in Darkhawk, and even the counter cards, everyone's gonna play. So it's hard to see those flexible decks anymore because it feels like a lot of people are not using the flexible aspect of the deck. Oh, that person shared that deck, just gonna copy the hard 12 and not adapt
Right.
it or wonder what am I facing and what they are facing.
I think that's a whole nother. I mean, that's a whole nother aspect of understanding that, like, when you're playing at 600 versus when I'm playing at 32,000, we're not seeing the same decks. And I can pick one deck, especially since I wonder if you could argue I probably see more synergistic decks than, and you're seeing more flexible, so I can tech easily towards those.
One of the reasons
But
why I really like this deck in the first place is because it's so good against Loki. But
and I've
who's
seen him with
playing
no Loki.
Loki outside of like top 1,500 people?
Yeah, yeah, I've seen him with no Loki.
All right, Carnage, go brr. They won't. Could just go Nimrod Zola, but I know they have missed.
And they're running a hood too, huh?
They're running what?
The,
Oh,
the
the hood.
hood, the hood.
It's the mix. Like it's the Darkhawk deck where instead of running tech cards, you run Hood, Sentry, and Nihilus.
Yeah,
So instead of like going one synergistic part plus tech cards, you just go two synergistic parts merged together. Okay, can I get Venom then? I'll settle for Venom.
no, you get Destroyer.
Cards? Cards. Null,
Venom
Venom, X23.
and a rock and a rock.
Rock is right.
Oh, did you draw? Oh, he only drew one. I'm sorry, I thought there was two kicked. Okay. I mean, there's only one dumped.
X23. Null, Venom.
Do you have a Deathlock in there?
Oh, Grandmaster.
Oh, Grandmaster. Yeah, that's the one that's missing.
Grandmaster here wouldn't do. Venom would be absolutely everything else. I guess we just. I'll play it in the middle because they have to counter me. Oh, and if they give me the hood, I might be Grandmaster. Ooh, I could Grandmaster Carnage.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind it.
And what about Destroy on 6? Is that not
Well,
kick
Destroyer,
Nimrod, kicks Wolverine?
I lose Carnage.
So you get 12 out of Wolverine, right? Two sixes.
Well, if I do. Oh, yeah, Grandmaster would. My 3 cards are Null, X23, Null, and Venom.
Mhm.
Actually, I
At least
could
you
do
get.
this. If I have Null, this wins. If I have Venom, it eats Nimrod.
Okay. That looks big brain.
Let's see. This is why I like this deck. It's because it's actually the only deck I found with Grandmaster where I'm like, oh my god, play lines. But actually, like, this is one of the good dynamics that I like with certain synergistic decks, and I think there are several levels of synergistic decks. They're like synergy that you just roll and you just hope your opponent doesn't counter, and there are synergies where you have to understand what the flexible deck is trying to do to counter you, actually adapt, play around it, and it's kind of a game of like cops and robbers, where opponent tries to understand what you try to do, they try to counter it, try to understand their counter to play around it.
Right.
Like, for example, I
The
didn't have priority. So if Destroyer was good, but if they Alioth me, which I don't know if they have, but if they Alioth me,
right.
it's a 1 in 3. While
Game
if I
over.
play into 2 lanes, I'm much more flexible against Alioth.
Gotcha. I've been trying. I tried Grandmaster with Storm. So you Storm on 3, Grandmaster on 4, and then you can Master and something else on 4, and then you can so you Grandmaster the Storm lane, and then you can try and Legion lock the second Storm.
Well, you kind of need points because your turn 3 was 2 points, and your turn 4 so far was 0 points.
Well, no, it's turn 4, so you can 2+2, right? So you can do that plus
Well, you
say
go Medusa.
Maximus or something like that.
Yeah, okay, but I mean, I understand it, but still, like, your turn 3 and 4 added up to 8 points, and
Right.
your turn 5
And
is a
then
7. Ooh, I'll take that. Oh, I know what am I. Face them. Oh, it's a Loki deck. A Loki. Wembaku.
What am I as one of the content creators, isn't he?
Well, I know him from Legends of Runeterra. He was a really, really good Legends of Runeterra player.
I know he makes lots. He at least every so often he has a bunch of decks made. So
He was a pretty good deck builder in Runeterra, so I wouldn't be surprised he was a good deck builder in Venom. 5 card. You have Carnage, which Wolverine X-23. Nimrod is absolutely nuts. Nico does nothing. I'm really sad that Nico doesn't work. Because I had the ×2 times. Never got a 12 power iron.
that's really nice. This. Yeah. And then Arnhem. Or Arnhem, yeah.
It depends where Ironlad goes. If Ironlad goes in the middle, it definitely goes.
That makes sense. Oh, right. Oh, so you can Grandmaster left, right?
Why? No, there's no.
It doesn't have a. It loses the honor reveal, right?
Yeah, the text changed. It's now with Wolverine.
Yeah.
But Zola, one of the two.
Mm-hmm.
And Baku be nice and fluffy. Do we win here? This one I never win. This one, I throw a 6. 27. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Whoa. Where did that? Is that a hub card? That must have been the hub, right?
Right, Zola, do your thing.
Hello. Well, that's a good win.
Hello. Did I win?
Okay, I'll take this.
Did we win if we copied Ironlad? I guess it was random because we have cards like we won as soon as one of them would have hit.
Well,
even if one of them hit right, because we have 19.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if one of them out of the two goes middle or right, like he lit. Okay, I hope you guys know how to build a flexible deck to be other flexible. That's the only thing. But that exists. There are ways to be flexible deck. Not easy, but there are ways, and we actually discussed this last week.
Oh wow! I just realized I was muted the last couple minutes. Sorry. Yeah. No, I was going to ask, so I was really nervous about that 6th round. I probably would have retreated at that point. So I was curious what led into the confidence. Yeah, I didn't think we could copy enough points. There was too many different cards they could play, especially with the Miss Marvel synergy. That probably would have been a retreat for me. I'm interested in it.
Well, part 1, Arnim Zola on Null is stupidly strong.
Yeah. But he was only an 8. I mean,
no, because
he doubles.
You destroy
when he blows up.
Yeah,
so it becomes 216.
Yeah, but even that, that's a beatable number still. That's not a high number.
Yes, but then thanks to M'Baku, I still had 10 on the left, which means I was still tying the lane even if I removed Null. And the second thing was Iron Lad was actually a Wolverine, so that was a plus 20.
Yeah. All right.
And also, I've said it a lot during those coachings, I will stay in a lot of games as long as I have at least 30 chance to win.
Fair.
Well, I think the takeaway I've gotten from the coaching that you've given me too is that in that situation there's a lot of possibility cards that they can play, but they also can't figure out what you're going to play.
Yeah, especially when that kind of deck. That's the big strength of these kind of synergistic decks that are out of, because my main goal, until I play Nimrod, let's say, my goal is that they think I'm a destroy deck that just didn't get Deadpool.
Oh wow! So Grandmaster here is really good.
It is.
Grandmaster Venom, wow.
Venom and Grandmaster.
Okay. Yes, I see it. I don't know if I would have probably gone the other. Yeah, you can't play it middle, but you can force it middle, right? So
yeah, it doesn't matter. And then I have an absolutely that I can play left because he can't change.
Or an Arnim Zola. Wow.
Right.
That's crazy. I can see this is actually this is the synergism on this is pretty really impressive.
And honestly, this, it's because Grandmaster crazy. Really, I tested in a lot of decks, and I had a lot of people tell me Grandmaster is good, and then I would test the deck. It's not. And in this deck, it was, oh my god, Grandmaster is a god.
Yeah.
Then we Zola Venom.
Yeah, when I played around with Grandmaster, I was always getting the sense of I could see how this would work, but it also felt very stranglehold to me. I was just forcing me to play in a certain way so that I can pull off a combo, and meanwhile, other opportunities were sailing by. This one, it works.
Oh baby, this is Zola.
Oh my god, yeah.
This Null is gonna come down. Null is
it's
gonna be fun. God, stop feeding me. The order is.
I only saw, and see what I mean, where I saw, but the first thing I thought about with Grandmaster is, oh look, that's the card I want that I can actually play onto goblins and send them back across the board.
That is fun when that fires. Yeah. Huh.
Okay. He's gonna what? Onslaught middle?
No, he's gonna save the life.
Yeah. Fair.
What is fun is I still had a turn, and I still had more points than most decks already.
Yep.
Yeah, that's crazy how much points.
I'm pretty sure if I pass, I win this game.
That is just, to pull that off on a YouTube video would be like, I'm just gonna pass here. I got this. Yep.
And everyone noticed there were no cuts, no surprise edits.
That's literally the concept of my YouTube channel. Start the video and no cuts, no nothing. Sometimes, today, I lost 8 cube because I missed a null in the middle. That wasn't.
I don't think I lost a good game today because I forgot that it was there was a turn 7.
I do that so many times.
Yeah, so do I.
All right, do we need one more game, or are you guys ready to build?
I think we can build.
Okay. You play. All right, I get it.
I guess our job was to watch the other cards, and I was watching your deck, so this is going to be fun.
No, but this deck works by the synergistic deck.
Yeah.
When it clicks, it clicks. just look at the previous 2 games and you.
Yeah, it's just smooth.
All right, so let's, for the exercise, extrapolate like that. There is some Darkhawk, there is Loki, and there is some synergy. Like, we're just gonna say the meta is synergistic decks, Darkhawk, Loki, and for good measure, we're gonna put Thanos in the mix. And now we want a flexible. We're gonna go back to this. And what do we build? Like, first, which one are we going to? Are we gonna adapt to the meta, trying to target, or are we gonna adapt to the meta and take a already dominant deck? Which option are we going?
Tell you what, I always play the sort of reactive version of flexible, and I want to expand myself a little bit. So I want to try something like good cards build, the more proactive version of flexible, because I don't do as well with them. So I'm committed to that.
I agree with you. I'm on board with that too. I think.
Perfect. No, that's perfect.
You want to push back on something else? Okay. Well, okay. The other deck that I've really wanted to try and I haven't built yet is I want to kind of ignore everything, and I want to go really after location. I want to just be location specific.
Okay,
so you just want to play Quake?
Yeah.
Well, no. I think there's enough cards out there now.
Legion.
Well, I think there's enough cards out there now. You can build an entirely different style of deck. Like, I mean, a whole location-based deck.
I do think you can, but I don't think you can label that deck ignore everyone, because literally that deck is gonna need focus on disrupting the opponent with locations.
Right, so you need lots of points and stuff to that. But I think what I'm saying is, I think using if you want to put a theme to the deck, right, the location theme is not one that I've ever really seen. Or maybe the last time I saw it, it was, back in the spring when we just didn't have the cards that we needed.
I think it would be fun to play with something like that. That's like a tribunal location build, where you're trying to pull off some of that combo, not with a Hela, but like just stacking Iron Man, whatever. But in the meantime, you're just choking off space. That could be fun.
I do think that deck would require priority, because changing location is so much stronger priority.
Yes.
Out. But alright, so let's start with the proactive one. Does anyone wants to share the screen, or do we just do the deck building on my?
Do you want to do the deck building? That way you have the deck already built.
That doesn't matter. I mean, I would afterwards. If someone wants to share the screen and do the deck building part, go ahead.
I'm cool if we just stay here. It's like we're already there. Okay. We don't know who wants to play the deck yet, so like.
Okay, so we said Darkhawk. So.
You said good cards, right? Proactive good cards.
Small Rocky, Big Rocky, Big Rocky, Third Rocky.
Mm-hmm.
And since we said cards were way, and
Doom. Do we top out Doom Elias, or
I was on Taboo?
So yeah,
we'll see about Doom. This is just packaged every
right
card. We could do. We'll see. We could play Magneto. We could play Elliot. We know we'll get a 6. So
okay.
So we got, we're in this one. We're trying to go for a dominant deck. So first, how are we trying to win? We're trying to win on points, or we're trying to win on disruption. So like, what's the emphasis? Is it I think Darkhawk has enough points that I can focus on myself and include 2 disruptive cards? Or is it more like, I want to disrupt people, but I still need points in my deck, so let's use Darkhawk for that?
I have you go ahead, Silverman. I think you have a, you were kind of piloting this.
I have prio here. Okay. So, gosh. So my immediate desire is to obviously use this as a shell to play reactive. But what I'm trying to do as an experiment here is push myself out of that. But let me think. What is the meta right now? We're facing a lot of flexible decks. How well can you counter? I don't know if I necessarily want to walk into just a purely proactive build. So I think using it as a shell for reaction maybe actually is just the right way to read it.
Okay, so more disruptive cards, but on the proactive side.
So the card that jumps out to me, like the first one I wanted to add, if you're talking Loki and you're talking Destroy, is Mobius.
I love that. I
mean,
love
if
that.
we're talking Destroy, there's Armor. We also
Mhm.
have Spider-Ham. We also have Iceman. Because we have Zabu, 2-3 costs enough. We could have also added Black Widow otherwise. Because we have
Right.
Zabu, let's take a look at the 4 costs that might include. We want a Shang-Chi. Do we want an Enchantress? I do feel like much stronger. I don't see that.
Well, and the ones that are always covered by what's her name, Cordera, whatever it is.
Yeah. Is this a dangerous deck to run Enchantress in?
It is if you
There's
don't know
some
that
risk.
you do it on your Darkhawk.
No, fair.
Or your
Or
Ms.
Marvel, or
Mobius.
Mobius, or Zabu. Yeah.
Not even.
And you're
Like,
playing Iron Lad.
Mobius and
So.
Zabu
Yeah.
are fine. You can Mobius and Zabu decks. You don't care.
Oh,
You
fair,
can
fair,
Enchantress
fair.
deck on turn. You can Enchantress deck.
Yeah.
And if you're afraid about killing your own cards, there's a card called Rogue that is Enchantress, less power, but for safety.
Fair,
Right.
fair. What about something to repeat some of these effects, like the stones? Do we want to try, I don't know, like a beast to replace some of these things or change our own locations? Or maybe like a Grandmaster to trigger a Korg or Ruckslide?
So for now, the question is replay these. So what do we want to replay? We only have Korg and Rockslide. So Beast, Rockslide is 4. The other question is timing. You could go like Korg into Grandmaster. Wrong, but that works as a curve. Like, let's say you want to go Rockslide into Grandmaster, or other 2 cards. What are you doing with the other 2 energies?
So if you want to play Grandmaster like that, is it better just to go, since you're already running Zabu, to go with a Wong, and then you have and it gives Iron Lad another target as well, if you really want to double up?
Iron Lad only works. It copies an unreveal. Iron Lad copies an ongoing. It's not going to copy it twice.
No, it won't copy it twice. But I'm saying it's Iron Lad if
Iron
you
Lad is
not using Grandmaster, but running Wong instead. If you want the same effect as Grandmaster, but you're running Zabu, you can just run Wong.
But like, what unreveals are we willing to copy then? Because we only have 2. Iceman could be fine. Ash for what unreveals would?
Is Black Widow worth it right now? As a 3 cost?
Could be. But when do we fit it? Like, we already have Zabu and Mobius and Rockslide.
So when you're not gonna go play it.
Mediator?
I kind of feel that if you're going to run Gladiator, I really feel you should run Shang-Chi at the same time. I feel like they just curve well.
Why did my eye go to negative? That's so... No. Yeah, no. I have bad ideas sometimes.
Could want to Wong up, but... Why, you Wong Doctor Doom.
Doom? Yeah. You want to get that early.
Could have this. Here. I have a Dan Heap. Fine playing. Actually, I don't want to. Background is so...
It is.
Okay, we said what? Iceman is a good one to fly?
Yeah. Are we getting enough targets now for a Mystique to be valuable, or not on this curve?
I think...
1, 2... Could be.
I mean, aside from Mystiquing the Dark Arc.
You already have this. The question now is, do we want one of these 2 cards to be a 5? Or 5 is always a combination of cards? Do we want another 2 alongside this? Good 2.
Quake.
That's, I mean,
Like, why do we have to? I answer the question. I can just answer the question with like, yes.
that works.
Um, yeah, it's a good. I mean, it's a good card. You don't. It's not your favorite for Iron Lad, but it's a good card.
I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, and you don't want to Wong into. You don't want to hit it with Wong.
Is
Um,
Goose
Yeah.
is Goose good? Because I mean, we have Polar Forecaster playable behind Goose. Doom doesn't care. Is that a good too?
Well, what targets are we facing right now? Like, destroy is not going to be that
it doesn't
impacted by it.
There's
except for
only
Null. It stops Null and
Yeah,
and Artem Zola.
well, the other
yeah,
decks.
Nimrod, but
The
yeah,
other decks could be stopped by.
that's true. That's true. That's true. That's true.
Also, like, do we want a
Um,
5? Like, Vision. I would play Leech.
Arrow.
You
Yeah,
play which deck?
everyone likes Leech. I mean, Leech now. Leech Darkhawk is super popular, right?
Really?
It's been
What
the
about?
tech card in Darkhawk just because it has that thing. I annoy everyone. I don't make it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, White Tiger is another one. Then you go like Darkhawk ongoing, but
Yeah, at that point, I start to worry about Marvel a bit. It's Marvel.
yeah,
I miss
no, that's a good
I'm
point.
worried about
Well, I mean, so if a lot of our strategy is based on sending clones
yeah.
of something to multiple lanes, then
Instead of 2.
oh, there you go.
What
So
did we
we
put in
actually
there? The two.
ended
Oh,
up on a
Jeff.
very basic or like general.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So let's see. How do we feel on our tech card side? Like we don't have, we do have Mobius to help with a lot of situations. We have Leech to block explosive turn 6.
And rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And Iceman. Like basically we're just like, we don't know who you are. We're just gonna play your cards and
Yeah.
hope it
Do you think that maybe something like would Shadow King work here? I mean, especially if we're looking for 2s,
The
or
problem
not
is
enough targets right now.
Shadow King isn't Shadow King is like
Oh,
a 2 that you
wait.
play on turns.
So you need a 2 and a 4, and
mm.
Miss Marvel's your well, I mean, or either Miss Marvel or Darkhawk are your 4s, but Miss Marvel's the one you would want to play with that.
I see. I see.
So I've been using a lot of Maximus too because I just think it's a good card, but
Yeah, but it's kind of the same. The late game card.
I,
What we're trying to find
I
is
play
something
it
that we
really
play if we
early.
don't find Zev.
Yeah.
What else we got?
Well, we could start with this. I mean, flexible decks tested, adapted.
Right.
We mentioned Quake. If we want
Cloak
points,
Cloak could be good too. Cloak could be really useful.
Silk isn't bad. What do you want?
Because it gives you a way to move your especially if I think about it as what I'm looking for when I see Darkhawk and stuff, right? I'm looking for targets to attack with Enchantress and stuff, and Cloak gives you a way to to get out of range of some of that stuff, to give you some variation on play.
Let's just play Cosmo.
That works too. Or Echo, yeah. But Cosmo's good. Cosmo's really
Well, if we want to play
good.
Cosmo, we need to Mobius, or we need to
Or
Darkhawk package.
Rockslide. Yeah.
I mean, that's possible too. Remove core Rockslide Darkhawk. Get Spider-Hand, Cosmo.
What's your points, Jessica Jones?
Disruptive package. I don't know if they both.
That's what we're here to find out.
Yeah, cool.
Right.
Well, if you send me a code, I can put this in.
The conversation.
Gotcha. Perfect. Okay, yes, copy this. Okay, let me just put this in real quick. Paste. Got it. Okay. 1 second. Okay. Here we go. And cool. Okay, let me go back. So here we are, share screen. Okay, and we want this one. And I think that's working. Okay. So where are we? All right. Why are you bad at good cards? Let's figure it out.
Should have just called it bad good card. That was enough.
Fair enough. Always me overthinking. Okay. So where am I here? Okay, fair enough. I'm sorry?
I'm just saying, yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
what to play?
Zabu left. Why not?
Yes, but why is Zabu left? Well, actually, we have flexibility.
I wonder what they're playing.
Yeah. I was thinking left just because I don't know if these are going to be, locations that interfere with ongoing, so may as well be safe for now. Let's see. Corgan, Iceman, Center, start the disruption early. They'll probably get destroyed, but that's fine.
Oh, so you play both? Isn't it better to just F and
So I would think, yeah, getting delaying their costs earlier is more convenient, but you can also just play this, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's just that
Well,
it's 8 points we lose. Now let's play.
Fair.
Yeah, I would play Jeff right.
Jeff,
Also
right?
because
Okay.
they're more flexible curve wise.
Fair. Yeah, that's right. They can plug in anywhere. Okay. Ooh, okay. That's tough. Let's see. We've got 3 to work with. They don't really run disruption against Darkhawk, but also not sure where to place that right now. So they're gonna have a good turn right now. I mean, I guess I could just put down the Darkhawk to mark. No, that reveals too much information. I don't know. I kind of feel like Iceman Korg still, just to let them know where they shouldn't compete, or to hold that information back.
Nah, I would just.
Okay.
That's where I was going to go.
Okay,
like
so now we have
just-
answered our question of why I'm bad at this. Like, my instincts are completely wrong.
How? You won.
Yeah,
Fair,
exactly.
fair.
Because the problem is you're thinking about play the 1 cost so they don't know where they have to compete. If they kill them, they don't care.
Fair. Okay, so now, so I think a rock slide and an Iceman, maybe. I got to start thinking about where I'm going to put a potential marble if she comes up. So I'm pretty free there. So I might build on the, I don't know, maybe there, and I guess it doesn't hurt to drop this here.
You get plus 2 points.
Yeah. And sorry, what was that then?
I would play
You get
Core
plus 2
rather
points.
than Iceman.
Korg, rather?
Because the earlier you throw the rock in their deck, right? And the second thing is you haven't seen Deadpool yet. Really in a rush to.
Fair.
Ooh.
That's good.
Oh. Okay.
Nice. Oh, this is
All right.
nice.
So let me make sure here. I'm tempted to drop Wong and Iceman, say, center, and then prepare to Doom after.
So Iceman sure because there's
Mm-hmm.
the Wong Iceman Center happens. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And then we can think about where to play.
Well, but if we're going to put Wong in the center as well, why not just get 2 Iceman hits from it?
Oh, okay. That's the yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
yes.
That's yes.
Then
No.
that's literally the reason why we put
Yeah.
of cards in their hand.
Let's find out. They are. Oh, my silly tracker.
What did
4 and
it's
yeah, a
written
deck
on
is.
Deadpool.
Oh.
Oh
Fair.
wow.
There we go.
Too late. Too late. Oh well.
Yeah. So let's see. Can we do this on points? Obviously, I want to drop Doom Center. That's going to be what 15 there. We're going to get another 10, 20. So we'll probably lose the left, although don't know if they're going to Zola or something. On the right, we'll have. See, even if I'm yeah.
I mean,
Let's
the question
see.
is, do you think they can play 11 in
Do I think they can? What's her?
11 in the because you're
Yes.
gonna lose left and you're
Yeah.
probably gonna win right. Question is, do you
Yeah.
think they can beat?
I mean,
What
they
was
could have a null.
what was the Deadpool? Is it like
It's
8 now?
It's a 4.
4. So it's a 6 at least to the center. So they
My
have to play
guess is
Deadpool with 1 card.
yeah. My guess is I don't win this, but also for 2 cubes, I'm okay finding out.
For 1 cube, you already lose.
Or fair. That's
Yeah.
right. All right. I think I don't get it, but let's see.
Well, 1 card.
Yep. And
No.
there's the null. Yep. Yeah, I mean that's just the right play.
I've never seen that version of Iceman.
Yeah, it was from some pack or something. I think back in
Gotcha.
December. I don't quite recall.
Gotcha.
I think I was like getting it for the gold or something like that. I'm like, okay, I'll take the Iceman too. All right, no real reason not to play Korg left. Yeah. Also, the fact that they've got X23 as a logo, maybe I'm just feeding them extra points, but we'll see.
That's good.
Okay. Yeah. It's not,
Leech just got better.
yeah. Right. Let's see. I might eventually get a Marvel. I guess I could just throw Iceman to the right.
That's what I would do.
Yeah. No. Oh, soup.
I was
Sorry.
just thinking, why don't?
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Okay, well now I want to put Rock Slide left, start getting points, and I want to try to keep the right open. Okay.
The right will be opened up by Killmonger. Probably.
Yeah, that's probably right.
I
Like,
mean, you don't need.
thank
to
you for that service. Yeah. Okay. So, what could Iron Lad be right now? It could be Zabu, Jeff, Mobius, Darkhawk, Marvel. Almost any of those are pretty nice on the right. Versus if I put out a Wong right now, I still probably want to leech Doom. So I think Iron Lad right is the way. How does that sound?
I would, if it was my choice, I would go Wong, Leech, Doom in that order.
Probably.
All right.
And you can probably snap.
Because the Deadpool's gonna go back to the hand, and probably on 5. at the end of 5. And you wipe out Null.
Oh, okay.
That's really nice.
That's pleasing. So I will give myself credit for having the instinct that I need to learn these kinds of decks because, in fact, I'm quite bad at them. So I want to play Leech middle just to preserve Doom's room, right? Why block out the left?
And you'll get priority there too, right?
No, there's a problem. The problem is Wong on Onslaught Citadel 4 times. Actually,
4.
still middle.
Oh yeah, so you need to go.
Oh, so put him
Leech
here.
right.
Or you
Yeah.
put him here because
Yeah,
there's
fair.
unless you want 1 more point.
Correct, because he'll earn more points than he'll be a 7 as opposed to a 2 6s. It'll be 7 6. It'll be 13. So 24 versus 23.
It's better to.
Yeah. Maybe you win that round. That side. Big deathlock. Okay.
Deadpool.
Right. Yep.
We're gonna be ahead on
Okay.
every lane in Deadpool.
Okay.
Okay, so now.
There's one play.
Yep, that's right. Everyone watches in dismay as I put Doom in the center. Let's see.
He plays Zabu, right?
That's right. Oh my god, even worse. So they're gonna drop a 22 Deadpool somewhere that will win whichever lane it's got. Let's see. Oh, well, fair.
No, they're gonna catch.
Yeah, fair.
Because of Leech.
That's right. All right, fair.
There you go.
Okay. So why did I want to play Iron Lad? I was thinking about. I didn't realize we were in the end game. I'm just looking like, well, there's lots of good targets to copy. I can still Leech later, still Doom, but like at a certain point, I don't need to copy those things if I'm going to get like just a lot of Doom points. So, yeah, that was a mistake.
I mean, it's the
Alright.
Leech, right? The Leech was the Leech won the game.
Yeah. Leech was going to be 5. Doom was going to be 6. The thing I wondered could I squeak out more benefit by doing Lad on 4.
Oh, jeez.
But
You just like
yeah.
you're just like killing it on locations.
I'm getting kind of lucky. I mean, all skill, as they say, right?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
So it's either Loki
Ooh, interesting.
or it's either Loki or
The Moon
Internet.
Girl copy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or Moon Girl version of Internet. What do they call that?
Yeah.
But you got like the best card.
That's right.
Like.
Oh, okay.
I still don't know which one.
Wait, but why would this be? I mean, they're not doing Loki with Collector anymore, right?
So it's the Internet version, right? It's the Destroy version.
Yeah.
Isn't there a Destroy version too? Or Disco version?
Yeah, so let me see real quick. So obviously this is going to be fun. I think I can wait a turn to play it and Korg next turn and drop a Rock Slide now. Or is it better to get the Mobius now? What are they about to pull off? Like, they're not going to do anything until their 4 turn. So I think I want to do Rock Slide left and then wait for the Mobius Korg next turn. Does that seem right?
I would play the Mobius.
Play the Mobius right now?
Because if they play something that feeds back to their hand, anything that's good, like say,
we're about to run
agent,
out. So
I play Mobius.
Mobius.
10 points.
Middle.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Fair. All right.
Because if they play, see, there you go. Now they're going to be expensive, right? They're going to be full price. If not, they would have 2 double cards that were cheap. And so, since you have it and they could still play, that's why I would do it that way.
Well, the thing is, because you showed Mobius on 3, they probably never go.
Which is fine too.
So it means we catch them in less of a trap. But by the way, I like Rock Slide left and then Korg.
I wouldn't.
Right.
At all.
Oh, really?
Need space.
Yes.
Have Darkhawk in your. that Korg
Mhm.
is 1 rock. When you still
Gotcha.
need space for Marvel, you for now.
Gotcha.
If you
All
draw
right,
Dark
fair.
Hawk, you can still play Korg with them.
Hmm. Okay, so they've just gotten a Korg, which is not going to help them.
Oh, that Korg went exactly, and the rock slide went exactly where you needed it to. That's nice.
Okay, so
That Iron Lad.
yeah. So you think even better than Leech right now? Because it could be Wong, it could be Dark. Yeah, I like this target a lot.
mean,
Like if it's a Jeff that moves, is great. Like
You could Leech, but
I
Each-
I don't know. I
What's the
I kind of like
what's
this.
left? Jeff, Darkhawk, or Wong? Yeah. Doom
Any
is
reason
a
not to do?
14. Wow, that's a really good Doom too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because if it hits your Wong, man, that's a 10-point Doom. Well, sorry,
Honestly, I kind of want to
sheesh,
snap this.
that's a 37-point Doom. Wow, that's pretty good. If it hits your Wong, that Doom is like 37 points. That's crazy.
27. Oh, 34. On the
37. Yeah.
How is it 37?
If he hits Wong with the Iron Lad, because it's 10 to each side, right? So 20
But
plus
it's gonna be a
14.
14.
No, but if he hits Wong, then it's 20 to each side plus 14, right?
Yeah, 34, not 30.
Oh,
So
you're right. 34.
now
You're right.
now the
What was
question
that,
is,
Iron Lad?
I'm sorry. It was Darkhawk. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, because that's the right hand card right now. So I think so. If they have a Shang, like that's a good target in the center. If I drop a Doom, yeah, they're not gonna be able to compete. There. Well, they might have the left too. This is tricky. So let me think. If I do Marvel center, assuming they don't have an Alioth, which I don't think they do, that will get that. Then I don't have any other combo to play. So I think I
Does
have to
Sinister go
bank.
first? No, I mean, Doom goes first, right? And then Sinister? Okay.
Sorry, Doom.
You play Doom on Sinister London, Doom triggers.
Yes.
Okay. So that tells you you're going to have a 5 in the center and 2 and 12 on each side.
Where you try to win.
Yeah.
Probably.
I'm not. Yeah, I think that's right. I'm not totally confident about this hand. Yeah. Yep. So that's the expected. Yep. Good. And then what else do they have?
Huh.
Okay, that seems.
That's not enough.
Nope.
At the moment, Shang-Chi.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
So, the problem here
Hmm.
was that focused too much disrupting them. It was time for the points, they're dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Because,
Mhm.
Yeah.
like, the only points you have are in the middle.
Hmm. It's a
This
perfect target.
was perfect target for
Yeah.
kind of why I
And
liked Rock Slide over Mobius 3. Because,
Mhm.
sure, if you had a Coulson,
ah.
it would have been bad. But two things. First, they didn't snap, and honestly, I'm going double Quinjet, double Collector, Agent Coulson. Better believe I'm gonna snap you.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Okay.
And the second thing is, if they do this and they don't snap you on a Mobius on turn 3 after the same turn they Loki, they don't change their course action.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I stand
I really
corrected.
wanted to yeah. Yeah, I felt like so the Loki deck you start to worry going into turn 5 because the Loki is probably going to happen on 4 earliest, right? So I felt like we had another move and getting more rocks into their deck now was better. But I agree that once we're at turn 5, like this deck often runs Loki, often runs Shang. there aren't the points to compete. This felt like a loss once we were at going into turn 6. And so is this just a case where I should have retreated, or on the flexible deck idea, is there something we need to put into the deck?
Well, to be fair, what was your dark? What was the Darkhawk? How many points was it?
It looks like they had, what was it? 8 in the deck, so it would have been what, 16?
16?
Yeah.
So it would have been 4 more on the left. So it would have been 4 more than what you ended up with, which would have been short. You would have been 23 to. So you would have lost, and you would have lost both sides.
Yeah.
So
And so it's interesting.
You lost either way.
Yeah, and I'm noticing we're not playing Marvel. There's almost always a better option for us. And if we had pivoted to Marvel, it's not like we would have gotten more points. Yeah. Honestly, my first thought is, like, if we're going to tweak this, Marvel's maybe not doing what we want her to be doing right now.
Well, are you basing this off of the location that doubles it?
Yeah.
Fair.
The thing
Fair,
is,
fair.
Marvel and Wong have the same spot. That's the idea. Play the one you get.
Yeah. Okay.
Here's just you had Sinister was a Wong. Actually,
Yeah, that's
Sinister
right.
London annoyed you because you used it to copy your support card and.
Yep.
With, like, for example, with a double rock slide, I'm pretty sure we should have Darkhawk, because Darkhawk was 14 that game.
16.
Well, 2 Darkhawks were better than Dark.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Still not enough, but we didn't know that.
So it could just be we need a little bit more data.
Well, it is. We need a little bit more data, but it's also we need to focus on the right thing. Right now, you're focusing on disruptive too. We're just not trying.
Yep. This is a very fair criticism. Like, I'm falling back on the habits, the things I like to do, reactive. The whole point of this experiment is to try to win points wise. Yeah. All right. Let me keep that in mind.
There you go. This is easy. You don't do nothing.
Okay. Do I care about that nebula? So I could play on it with, say, Zabu, or I could not care about that right now and start trying to go for Asgard. Do I have the cards I want? Not really yet. I feel like trying to get some extra points or extra cards is maybe better right now, rather than this just becoming a 3.
I would play into the nebula. I would play with the Zabu, and the reason I would do that is because you have a good chance of drawing a 4, right? You have 4s in your deck, so that's better than 50% chance of drawing a 4 on the next slot.
I see. So I still have chance to win the Asgard. I see. That makes sense.
Yeah, you have 2 turns to win the Asgard. And look at that, you got Darkhawk.
There you go. All right, solid point. All right, so let's see. I know I've got that coming. I could just drop the Rock Slide, but right now that's information on what I'm playing. I could put down the Jeff and Iceman instead.
Jeff and
Iceman.
Jeff on Nebula. Asgard.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, the problem right now is that we're reasoning off of a turn-by-turn logic, not reasoning off of an entire game logic.
Okay, cool. Tell me more. Yeah, I like this.
The problem right
now that's definitely what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Like, the biggest thing right now is that you're asking what do I want to do in this game. Once you have this, how does turn 2 presses me? For example, when you're playing a Darkhawk deck, it's not about winning Asgard. about your opponent not winning it, because that's -4 to your Darkhawk.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right.
so if you play on Nebula, but you lose Asgard, you knight them 2 points to give them 4 points and 2 cards. So it's much better to let the Nebula grow to Oblivion, have them not win Asgard, because at the end of the game, you'll play Darkhawk on Nebula and got the points back. Well, if you do the opposite, lost point cards.
All right. Oh, I love that. What do we feel about, say, Rock Slide left and Korg right?
Opposite.
Gotcha. So why do we want Rock Slide on the right instead of say Korg?
Because we know we're not gonna get the Atlantis buff because there's a Nebula playing there, so we know we need points. One more point, but
oh, this is setting up something really beautiful. Like if we Doom now and then Darkhawk Marvel next turn, like this feels nice.
I like it.
yeah, you can do on Nebula. That's fine.
And you don't expose your Darkhawk or Marvel to like
It's
anything.
an Inchinot. They don't play any counter card. Actually,
yeah,
you might want to play Darkhawk or Marvel now, but that's the same.
Because they're going to play
because
they're going to play Bleach. Yeah,
your whole deck is weak.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
You still play Doom
Fair.
because your whole deck is weak.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. All right.
At least you get something. Oh, Inchinot.
So this could be Mobius, which would be hilarious. Wong, or Leech, which is completely useless at this point. Wong is also
Leech
useless. I mean, Leech is it's turn 6, so
everything is useless.
oh,
wait, actually, no. Mobius is really good if they
Mobius.
Pass.
Yeah, but it's like a 1 in 3 on that. But
I mean,
yeah, I think it's worth it.
It's still Iron Lad Marvel.
Okay, so let me think about where I want to win, because so Marvel's going to go in the middle. This
yourself a simple
Jeff
question.
will move.
Do you think you can beat 20?
What is there? This is going to go down to a 5. That's going to be 10. If they play no. No.
Yes.
Even moving the.
You miss Marvel in the middle, you're at 11 plus 10 from Darkhawk, you're at 20.
Oh, if we play it there, okay.
Then you want Iron Lad left, miss middle.
Gotcha. Oh,
Oh, you got it.
Okay.
We should have snapped that up.
No, not on 1 and 3, maybe.
1 and 3, 30%.
Oh my god. Well, I mean that's why we're staying in, not necessarily we snap. All right.
Okay.
So now I want to move this Jeff, so I can put Darkhawk there.
So no. First, you want to count how big is their Hulk. You need to recall the whole game and think about when did they pass.
They passed at least 1 turn because they've got an Infinite on the
5.
board. Yeah.
That's the only turn they could have passed to play an Infinite.
Yeah,
There's also no 2 costs, so you know they passed.
2.
Oh, you're right. Okay, so and at this point, Darkhawk's at 10.
They passed 4 because Infinite costed 5 because they're Titan. They played Cyclops on 2.
That's right.
So they played Nebula on 1, Nothing on 2, Magic on 3, passed on 4, Infinite on 5, passed on 6. So Hulk got plus 6. They only play Hulk, he'd get plus 8, so 20. So what you want to do is move.
You need to be 22 then, right? On the left.
Darkhawk left.
Just Dark. And then move Jeff center? Because then we get the Marvel boost.
Yeah.
Like this?
Yeah, if you think they're gonna Hulk. Basically, you have to guess where do they Hulk. I think they're gonna Hulk.
I mean, I like it.
I guess it.
Oh, I mean. Oh.
Okay, they don't have Hulk.
It always works.
Oh, okay.
Good thing they didn't. But yeah, we need with this deck. You need to see a bigger picture, because the thing is, right now, you're always planning like you had the ideal draw. You're always playing like you're going to be able to keep Darkhawk in your hand. Always playing.
Yeah.
Like
I would go a step.
Etc.
Yeah. I actually think I would put it, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but I'm actually playing very non-committally. I'm trying not to decide. So I'm playing support rather than starting to build points. I don't know what I'm going to play, and I'm keeping it too open. And the reason why, when you said that, it really struck me is that it's actually the opposite of what I'm doing. I need to have a whole game plan in mind, and instead I'm aggressively not thinking about the whole game. I need to be more committal with these kinds of decks. At least that's what I'm thinking.
Yes. But like basically what we need to do is to look at the game from a standpoint of I have that much energy, or I want to play. How do they fit? How do I fit them? All right, let's keep going.
May I ask a question before you move on?
Of course.
Oh.
I just want to help Daniel become gold mint instead of bronze mint. Watching the game on turn right before the end of turn 6, when he's playing the Iron Lad and he's looking for Mobius, Wong, or Leech for the last 3, why wouldn't you consider snapping there based on the fact that they're not going to fully know what we're planning to play with the Darkhawk at the end, and that even if they did play Hulk left, we would have still won the game? Like, do we not have enough deception and enough expected value to consider snapping there?
Well, so here's to answer the question. Like, I'm not saying I'm right about this. Here's just what I was thinking. I thought I was looking at an opponent who had a much higher point ceiling and could drop big cards basically anywhere. And I thought they had a higher chance of winning the gamble of picking locations right, whereas I had a much lower ceiling. And so, honestly, I was not confident that it would like go our way. I felt like they could win with less skill and less precision.
Also, so we would have snapped in your theory. We snapped.
I think so. Just based on the fact that it seemed to me their best play was Hulk on turn 7.
Yes, but that's information you have on turn. If they they played Cyclops. Now let's imagine they don't get Mobius. They do what most of these decks are going to 6, which is skip. We didn't get Mobius, and we're facing She-Hulk plus Hulk. So the natural pattern is, if we get Mobius, we're extremely happy because we cancel their pass. But if we don't get Mobius pass, we actually are in a position where they snap us, leave. So I agree that might be considered 50. I mean, probably the math is a little complicated than this, but let's just say it's a 50-50. Because we have 1 out of 3 to get Mobius. They don't necessarily have both cards in their hand. But where I tilt the balance, what if they just slam a whole counter on 6? We don't have Shang-Chi in our deck. If we had Shang-Chi in our deck, I would definitely have snapped this. Worst case, just Shang-Chi the Infinite. But I think here in the build we're playing, which might be wrong, we're just experimenting. The normal scenario is they pass 6 and then She-Hulk plus Thompson.
Gotcha. Fair enough.
All right. But I'm happy to be copper mint or tin mint because nothing with it. All right.
You go for thin mint too. Those are timely too.
Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah, I like that. All right. So I am mindful of time. Do we want me to keep going? Do we want to switch to a deck for Bishop? Because I'm benefiting from this, but there's multiple people here.
We're just gonna finish on this because you guys wanted.
Oh, okay.
Thing.
Sounds good to me.
So I was just playing devil's advocate a little bit there because I wasn't sure if that was just being a little bit too conservative or if it was just being disciplined. So just wanted to get a different.
Well,
opinion.
the thing is also Silverman started the session saying he wanted to that kind of deck, which he's really not comfortable with. Usually, when someone isn't comfortable with, I try to not push them too much snapping, and letting them like focus on the innings and getting to the snap afterwards. But yeah, sometimes that leads to cautious.
Yeah, I would say it's almost never the case that I'm being too disciplined. That's probably the right read. Yeah, this is honestly me. Like, if I'm being really honest, I'm focusing more on just getting the rhythm of the deck and trying to see how I'm thinking about it and how I should be thinking about it. And honestly, I'm not putting too much thought into the snapping.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think. By the way, just Jeff, right? Why not?
Right or mid. You have Dooms.
Yeah.
Have to play right.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. What do we got here? Oh, okay. Oh, fun. But no, we can't take advantage of that, so we don't really care.
Wait,
So
what deck
they
plays
definitely.
Zabu and Kara?
Is it a zoo deck? To get out, because what else plays on 4? So it could be on 4 that needs.
Could it be negative?
Oh,
Kara? Sounds weird. I would say it's probably good cards Black Knight.
oh yeah, Black Knight.
Fun. By the way, I'm thinking get a Mobius out now because Zabu and may as well go right.
So I would think about putting the Mobius in center, but to counter the Zabu, so you get priority.
Not really for priority. Mobius might as well take out their process.
Oh, there you go. There's another one.
Nice. Okay, yeah, okay, that's a good reason. Okay.
But we get a do-over.
Yeah, fair enough. So we could do Wong center.
Well,
All right. I am glad, by the way, that you said we get a do-over because my immediate thought was like, okay, so Wong left, and I'm like, no. I'm going to pretend I had the right idea. Okay, they're passing. That's interesting.
do you like?
They could just be disappointed in me. I'm sorry, what was that? Okay, so I feel like, oh, yeah,
There you go.
They were.
I would have probably. That's right. I probably would have rock slid middle, and I don't know, worked one of the sides. I don't think the Zabu really. Well, maybe I would have Zabu'd left. I'm not sure, but yeah, fair.
Is it really bad to consider Korg and rock sliding in the middle? Because at this point, the only other double on reveal you'd want is
you can't Korg middle because patient. But if you're gonna Doom turn 6, still rock slide middle, and because
you want to keep space open, yeah.
It's not really you want to keep space open. You don't have a turn 4 that you're gonna play over Doctor Doom. Like you're gonna play double turn 4, but you get one card.
Okay.
Hope for Doom. Jeff and Doom.
That's right. Though depends on what we've got facing here. Also, that's going to matter. So I'm inclined to Zabu. There's not that many locations that are bothered that can interfere with ongoing, and plus, Diablos could kill it. I don't want to give them too many obvious targets if I've got Marvel in hand or Wong in hand. The only option is wait, maybe I want to preserve the right for Wong. But even then, overthinking it probably. I think I want to put this here.
You have this deck is good to play in 2 other locations. You don't have to take risks.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, okay. So interesting. Okay, fun. So what do we have right now with Lad? We've got Korg, Jeff, Mobius, Rockslide, Doom, or Darkhawk.
Great.
I'm sorry, what was that?
And you have great picks, right? Doom,
Yeah.
Darkhawk, Jeff, all like super good.
Yeah.
Mobius is good.
A lot of these would be even better with a Wong down on the right first. Because then we could Lad and Iceman on the right.
Well, you saw a
I mean, that's my
shocker.
thinking.
So
Mhm.
probably, if it's an Inchi not, okay, because probably have it.
Mhm.
Like won't have a disruption. But the other Eye Evolutionary, Rogue, or Enchantress.
So would you play Lad first, or?
I think Wong is worth the risk. I could play Lad first, take priority, and then go Wong plus.
Mhm.
It depends. Like it depends. If you think it's an
darn.
Inchi it's fine to Wong.
That was the worst one.
Mm.
That's no fun.
Okay, what do we have? Interesting, that would have been a Doom, but let's see. So we've got topic targets. We've got Jeff, Mobius, Rockslide, Darkhawk. It's fine.
All the
As a play.
targets are good.
Yeah. So plus we get closer to this energy, so it seems solid to me. And we don't care about the order of these, Lad and Iceman. No. Yeah, we don't care.
She-Hulk. Oh. It's Jeff.
It's totally fine. I mean, it would have been nicer before the ruins thing happened, but
Yeah.
okay. So now Mobius. Well, yeah, that doesn't matter as much. Dropping a let's see. So let's imagine they leech me, which is a good option. Them. I've still got Marvel to do some work for me. Let's see. I think. Does Leech hurt them in a big way?
Do they run Infinite? Or Infinite?
Yeah, I could actually. Yeah, I think maybe it's not worth leeching. Maybe it's better to just put down Marvel and Jeff.
Yes. Better against their.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. We've got a 2 and a. Let's see. That's a
There's
1 and a.
literally zero
4.
question about where you play.
Yeah. Left.
Please play it right and
Yeah.
take that energy.
Okay. Okay.
That's right. That's right.
I will own the complete lack of situational awareness there. That is 100%.
That was nice.
This is
That
not
was,
about playing good cards. This is about knowing there's a location you've been speaking about for 4 turns and you completely blanked on it the 5th one.
I will own that. I'm not even going to pretend that was bad. All right. So, okay, so they played Magic here. They don't have because they've already played She-Hulk early. Gosh, what are they waiting to draw? Let's see. Okay.
They could just like Hulk stuff, or they could Cyclops, but
So, let's see. I think if I want to move these, I could do both
I
here.
don't see what you want to move.
To try to get a Korg double rock. Although that might be better to leave open just for
That
potentially
also
rock slide
costs you
next turn.
5 energy.
That's
5
right.
power, man.
Well, let's see.
I would not play it.
Yeah, because we want to. Yep.
Because
Doom's going to double up anyways, right?
Yeah, because otherwise you're out of space.
Yep. Okay, so this is going to be. Let's see. They are winning the right. It is really easy to win. Oh no, I don't think we can do anything here. Not with this draw. No, I think we're gone.
I mean, there are 2 plays. You can shoot later, or you can snap and make them believe you have Shang-Chi. That's the 2 plays you have.
Oh, I almost never do that. Should I do that?
This is you're
I
just
shouldn't.
doing you're doing the 22,000. I mean, you're just doing the silly money stuff. Like, what does this even matter?
Yeah.
22,000,
Yeah.
23,000. Who cares?
Yeah. Well,
You
so here's
snap
the
and
thing:
go.
if I was gonna bluff, I wouldn't have waited half the round to do it. You've got to bluff right away there. I feel like it's less believable if I'm like waiting this long.
It depends, Silverman. I've watched you play for a long time. I would just be like, this is how long he takes.
Something we learned over playing like games is you're facing a ton of Inchinot compared to me. Maybe you should play more Shang-Chi.
You know, honestly, all right. Let's get a rock in there, and I don't see any benefit to playing it on the left. May as well play it on the right. No.
Why Korg over Iceman?
Because
of the draw?
gives you more opportunity.
I feel like Iceman is good anytime. And sometimes really fun to disrupt a combo. Let's see. Okay.
Zabu center?
Please don't.
Look, I would believe you right now after I missed the location that I've been building through the whole time. Like, careful, I would do that. Yeah,
Just
it
like
gives
one
me a
good
small
location
chance.
for Zabu. Yeah. Well, it's not going to be Isle of Silence again. The worst case would be what Mirror. Like seriously, I mean, anything else you is good for you. So.
Oh, hey, that was. Oh, they still kept proud, but like. Okay, well, I'm annoyed at that location. We don't have anything that changes locations, right? No, we don't. All right, so Marvel's going to be less effective. Where do I want to win here? So they're probably going to discard right now with a Sif something really big, something that could also move my cards in unhelpful ways.
They already have a 20-point. They have a 20-point.
Yeah.
Sword or whatever the gem or whatever the thing is
Because
called.
Blade came on turn 1 and Black Knight came.
I'm sorry. I thought Black. I'm sorry. I thought Blade was on 2 as well. Okay.
Yeah.
So they just have 20 points loaded.
Just Rock Slide.
I probably want to just play Rock Slide. I don't know. Right?
Yeah. So you have 1,
for the
2,
points.
and 3.
Yeah.
Keep the space for Doom.
Okay. Interestingly, that they did not play anything right there. So that means they don't have or they don't have the right target yet. What did they discard? I just want to remind myself. Oh yeah,
Inchinot.
Oof.
Inchinot.
They haven't played Zabu yet, so the helpful. This is not looking totally great. I'm not gonna lie. That center location is bad.
I mean, for some cards.
Yeah. I could Iceman and Dark Hawk on the left.
Why not Iceman center? Iceman can play into center.
Fair, yeah. And it helps maybe contest there. I feel like if I'm going to do this. Oh, so maybe like put a Marvel here? Yeah, because I want to keep the right open in case I want to Doom later.
Yeah, okay, the same problem you do.
Does this deck run? Oh, that's fun. Does this deck run Shang-Chi? Okay. I think there's probably no downside to preserving options and just putting Wong here. But it looks like we both have bad draws, so.
No, you want to play Mobius. Good card, Black Knight.
Oh, they do. Okay.
And if you want to benefit from the Miss Marvel, you can't have 2.
Yeah, you can.
Cards in. I mean, 2.
Yeah,
Miss Marvel's, but you can't have 2 Dooms. You can't have 2 Dooms in Isle of Silence.
Well, the thing is, Doom is a 5, and Miss Marvel is a 5, so doesn't matter.
No, I meant you can't have two in Isle of Silence. Like you're not going to Wong Doom on the left because
That's
then
what I said.
you're going to get
Doom adds 5 powers.
Yeah.
Takes what Miss Marvel would give you, so it doesn't matter.
I'm going to give you.
You're not losing power doing it.
So let's see. They could Ghost Rider here and drop a lot of points on the left, or frankly in the center, but they're already winning center. I can't put my biggest cards. Yeah, no, they're right to snap right here. Like we're losing this one. So I think I've got only 12 there. It's not going to be. I think this is unwinnable, assuming their draw.
It's just good recognition of they have a good. Like, there's a location that cancels your Darkhawk, and they're just like, ooh.
Yep. No, and even if they're bluffing, like, it's a confident bluff. Like, that's... I did not have the math there.
All right.
And then play Legion. Legion is the best card right now.
Yeah. Should we try one with Sheng, or... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's the thing is, that's what we learned from all these games. That our main... starting... like we started with saying we wanted a flexible deck that we would act as dominant metagame, like base our assumption out of out of the fact that Darkhawk put up enough points to compete and didn't have to disrupt the opponent.
Yeah,
I think we can say after a few games that assessment was wrong.
Yeah, the points potential is not there right now.
At least it's not enough. It might be there, but not enough.
Yeah.
Game. So
we
definitely need to either change the points part of the deck, or we need to the same basis, but
yeah, I mean, first off the top of my head, is it worth calling this up real quick? I don't know, I would maybe drop Leech, honestly. And I'm not 100% sure Wong is the right direction either.
If we look at what the deck really looks like, the real Darkhawk deck right now is minus Iceman, minus Wong, and counter ongoing Sheng. That's what the deck looks like on average, which basically makes it a Sarah control, except have a Darkhawk base instead of a Sarah base. But now the question, the real question, there is, considering the base of those good cards deck is points plus Taboo plus Enchantress, Shang-Chi, and stuff. Is it a good idea to play Darkhawk, which is weak to both Enchantress and...
Yeah, I see.
So I think like Darkhawk is the best foundation of the deck if you didn't know what your opponents were doing. But because we know that it's not enough against synergistic decks, and it's not that good against flexible decks, Darkhawk is good in general, but it's not good right now.
Right.
So maybe
we
need to change is the Darkhawk.
That's 3 cards, 4 cards right there. 3 cards.
3 cards, but that's fine. I mean, Korg can become Spider-Ham. Rockslide can become, I don't know, Cosmo if we want more disruption, or we were discussing Gladiator or stuff like that. And Darkhawk can become Shang-Chi, can become Jessica Jones, can become that kind of stuff. And because we removed half of the ongoing cards in the deck, Wong can go as well. So basically, you replace Wong with Shang-Chi, you replace Darkhawk with another 4 for points, and then you just get different disruption. And that's why flexible decks are good, because you can just change cards for different roles, keeping the same balance.
Yeah. All right, fun. I mean, I definitely learned a lot from this.
Yeah, that's the whole point of those.
Yeah. I love it.
If we go back to this huge chart,
I'll stop streaming.
It feels like when I was playing the synergistic decks, there was a lot of the pros actually happened, not a lot of the cons. Like my deck was super easy to. Like we played 4 games, and I feel both of you knew how the deck was played.
Yeah.
We played in like 500, 600, and we didn't do a lot except, oh my god, Grandmasters. We had pretty easy to figure out snaps and retreats. We could have grinded, honestly. To me, it's a comfort deck because I've been playing it since November, but that point is kind of we don't care about locations, but actually, because it's a deck that doesn't have corruption toward locations, maybe it's not good in it. We did play much faster than we played the Darkhawk deck. So actually, like in the same amount of time, we would have got more games in, which we actually would have seen of a sample size. We did get into a rhythm, and it was super flashy.
It's true. It's true.
But if we look at the cons, the thing is actually, because that build is not unique, but because it stems off Destroy, people think I give a lot of information early, but actually I don't, because I give wrong information. It is very draw dependent, but I don't know if we got lucky or if the deck is well balanced, but I feel like the fact that our key card is a 5 cost makes it that we have it much more often than a deck that needs a cost. At least needs it on turn 1 when they need it on 5. The weaker to counter card is true, but because we give wrong information, I feel like we didn't have a lot of counter cards against us. It's not that easy to snap and retreat against, because people actually snap and retreat like I'm Destroy, but I'm not, which means they're gonna stay because they Deadpool. They're not gonna retreat because they didn't Deadpool. And it can be very frustrating when it doesn't work out, but the deck is so fun that I don't really. But then the synergistic deck, the good thing is a lot of the pros happen and not a lot of the cons happen. Now, if we look at the flexible deck, we tried to adapt at the meta, but it didn't seem like we made it. Well, we didn't have time to play Conquest and Ladder. We skipped this one. We decided to dominant deck. It is collection friendly, but I mean, in a grindy way in this specific scenario, it's not. Current, less draw dependent. Did we really get more games where we were like, oh, we really need to? Because I feel like these Zabu decks, when they don't have Zabu, they're kind of draw dependent. Because sometimes, like, it feels like less draw dependent also means you want to stay in games where you should. Like, there are games that we played because our hand was playable, but now that we know the end result of the game, should we have played those games? Location dependent, that's very true. Dr. Doom doesn't care. Better for player development. I feel like we discussed and had much more thinking during the Darkhawk part than during the. But the cons, easier to make a mistake with such a deck. I mean, it didn't help that you forgot locations, separate occasions. But there were a lot of
the amount of
points.
Yeah.
Needs in-depth information, yes. There was a lot of times where we had to basically guess the entire opposing deck to make a decision. Snaps and retreat are harder to identify. That is very true. There are a lot of times where you were not comfortable snapping. And that just stems here, like you had to focus more and we need more information. So I feel like actually in this session, it may be just small sample size or just it happens, but we had a lot of the pros of the synergy deck and a lot of the cons of the flexible deck.
Well, and I think there's two things there, right? Like, so the deck had been tested. With the con, we're on the flexible side. We're also specifically picking a deck I'm bad at to learn at. And I do think I would add one more to the con list, which is on flexible. Maybe don't play when you're on a lot of pain medication. So I think, right. So I think, we've seen that exactly why synergistic decks work when they work. Like that was exactly happening. I think our theory here was right. They do take more work to do flexible well. But the ceiling potentially is higher once you put in that work.
Exactly. Of course, experience comes in, etc. Like, I mean, the deck I showed you, I've been playing it for like days, and I've been playing it a lot. Love it, and I know it's refined and etc. So we came in with a synergistic deck that was worked on, and we played a flexible deck where we were trying things. Obviously, we're not gonna have the same output just because they're not at the same points in their development. But that's the point where I wanted to get in, which is, in order to pick, at least in the current metagame, I don't think there's a right answer. I think playstyle is important. I think your goal is important, as always. I think we need to separate performance and learning process. Trying to win while we're trying to learn is just being unrealistic most of the time. And the other thing is, there's the time we put in. And that just comes to what we like. Because in the end, if you like synergistic decks, you're much more likely to put in the time necessary to find the deck and get good at the deck and understand the deck. And the opposite, what you guys said at the start of the session, where synergistic decks are boring to you, and after an hour you're just tired of it, well, that's just never going to work, and you're never going to put enough time to actually get really good at the deck, because after half an hour you just want to change it.
Yep.
So, if the metagame can't help us, there's one thing that we can always rely on. It's ourselves.
So that's where my weakness is. No. Yeah, I do think that flexible decks you have to treat like a commitment. Like, you're not going to decide for several days whether or not the experiment was right, because you're going to be tinkering, you're going to be refining, you're going to be collecting data. I'm never discouraged by like the first hour of a flexible deck, because I barely know anything at that point.
Yeah.
I think one thing is, at least with the flexible deck packages, like, you have your favorites, right? And you have your, like, I have a package that I like a lot, and so when I don't know what to do, I just go back to one of them, and then I'm just tinkering with like a couple of, tech cards or something like this, right? So, I mean, I think it all depends on. I think it really, the more energy you spend at this, the more you practice with different flexible decks, the more you see like, oh, this package would be better here, right? Or this package would be better there. It's less guesswork.
Yes.
Or not.
No, very true. All right. On this note, I am going to close the YouTube video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And when we have our next session, I think there will be an OTA. So likely the next session is going to be after the OTA. We'll store for that one. Because honestly, the thing is, there aren't that many things I want to see nerfed in this metagame. But I would love to see a ton of buffs. Like, we don't touch any of the good decks, because the good decks are fine. There's literally not a deck that we're like, oh my god, it's so oppressive. So I don't want any nerfs this time. But I want all the tier 3 decks to be buffed, and we just have like 15 tier 2 decks. And just everyone play what you're good at.
That sounds fun.
I want an all-out war of what are you guys good at.
Oh, okay. I'm excited. I want that. Yeah.
I would love this. All right. But we'll have that answer next Thursday. So we'll explore that in our next coaching session. Until then, have a good one.